Alright, in this video I actually want to talk a little bit about defense. I've been doing the run and shoot, and I could get more into that, I guess, but before I do, I want to actually take some time to get into defense and talk about how I like to do defense. And how I like to do that is, I used to be man up. I liked cover 1 and cover 2 man, or sometimes they call it cover 5 there, and mix things up with that. Be a cover 2 man, but it's actually what they call pounder, where you put the two safeties into quarters in the middle of the field, so they help out with the weakness of that coverage, and that's the run defense. But yeah, now I'm kind of switching over, messing with this match coverage stuff, and I kind of like it because it's like mixing zone coverage with man coverage. It's a hybrid, and it's very fluid. It's very cool. And I want to talk about that a little bit. And the whole reason why I do these videos is I try to get into real football the best I can in this game. I know it's not completely possible, but I try to do that. Now, you're probably saying this is not a match coverage, and you're right. But all you got to do here is go to your linebackers, click on square here. We're going to put him in a seam. So now on that left side there, it's match, and then you do the same thing, double tapping triangle to get to your uh, safety there. But apparently he does not have a seam flat option. So what we would do is put him on a hook, and then we will put that other outside linebacker. We'll put him on a seam, and there we have match. But I don't like how this is set up. I'm going to put it on auto flip, and I'll explain why in a second. Let's go back to this play. You know what? I think it might actually be easy to use this one. It's already basically match. So let's take this. I'm doing a cover 4 shell, and I'm going to put auto flip on. I'm not doing really any other adjustments. These are all default because I'm not zone dropping. I'm man matching. And usually, yes, you do this kind of formation, kind of play call against a 2-by-2 formation, and this is a 3-by-1, as in there's 3 receiver threats to the right and 1 to the left. So it's not evened out. You don't count the running back here. So I'm just putting here random play from here. So to make this a man match here, we're going to have to change things. And the middle linebacker we're going to put into a hook. The safety, we have to put him into a hook. And that's the thing, it should have auto flipped, but it didn't, so I have to redo this. We'll put that linebacker back in his hook. We're going to put the other linebacker over here on the left of the screen into a seam, because we can't put him in a hook for some reason, and we'll have to put that guy in a hook. So there we have our basic cover 3 match. And before I let any plays actually play out, the reason why I like using this is not because it's like an unbeatable defense, but because it's really good at stopping big plays. It is really good at it. And really, I come out in this cover 4 because I like to mix in another coverage, which I'll get into momentarily. But I basically like the 3 high, but I like to always show that it looks like it's too high. Like it's always looking like either a cover 2 or a cover 4. That's how I like to make it look. So you don't know which side the safeties are going to roll. Because now and then, this safety, he might be the one that goes into the deep, or he's the one that rolls down, right? And when I mix in the other coverage, it changes things up a little bit as well. You know, one of the main things is to confuse them. It's not super confusing, But it is something that they have to think about, and the more things you give your opponent to think about, the more likely it is that he's going to take more time, that he's going to mess up, right? Whether he gets sacked or throws an incompletion, or hopefully an interception, right? So it's those little things. So, uh, why am I coming out a 3-by-1 when you usually would want to do a cover 3 against a 2-by-2? Well, that's because in this situation, usually when it's a 2-by-2 set, I'm going to use this deep guy because I want to avoid big plays, and a lot of times you got to watch out for when they're doing a post, something coming across, and when the computer safety comes over here, he'll let the guy kind of run by, and you'll get a big play over here, right? As you know, a lot of people, what they'll do to beat the cover 3 is, you see where I have Slay over there? They'll take that receiver, for example, or on the other side where I have Quinyon Mitchell over here, they'll do a comeback route or something along those lines to keep this deep corner route cover guy here, this deep zone, down on him. And since he comes down, they just got to put their tight end over here in front of Smith, or in front of Graham, we have their other receiver. If they put one of them on a post, they come from over here, they run up over here, and right here in the seam, this area is open because there's no corner over here. He's biting down on that comeback route. So what I do to counter that, to make them to have to throw short and just nickel and dime it all the way down the field, is I'll use this guy. So when I see someone coming as a deep cross, I take over and I make sure that play's not open. So if they throw it, I'm either going to pick it or break it up, or they decide, hey, I'm going to throw short, and that's what I want. It's more of a bend, don't break defense. You try to make them just take the little bit that they can, right? So generally that's what I do, but on a 3-by-1, it's a little bit different. A little bit different. And the way it's different is that I still may user him, but not all the time. Like if they're throwing short a lot and they're taking their time dinking and dunking, you can still use this play call against a 3-by-1 if you know what you're doing. So this is perfect where you have the safety who's in the deep zone on the side of the 3 receiving threat, right? Now, since I have auto flip on, even if they do a motion, like let's say it's a 2-by-2 and they motion to one side becomes a 3-by-1, it should auto flip, right? If it doesn't, you can flip it to make sure that your deep third would be on the same side, because you have this side of the coverage is going to be flooded. And what I mean by that is what should be what happens here is Bond, he's going to end up coming over, right? If they don't run the ball, because I have it on auto play, it could be a run play. He's going to come over here and cover relatively short, right? They're going to try to high-low him kind of thing, right? But he's going to stay in the middle in low, and if anybody comes across, he's going to let him go, but he's going to stay basically in this area, which means you could throw over the top from him, which means what's open here is if they do a dig, right? They do a 10-yard, 15-yard in, right? So if that slot guy or the outside guy runs his 10 yards or so, cuts in, he's going to be behind Bond, right? Which means he's open. But in this match style defense, what happens is the other hook zone, so if you're doing a different formation, it might be a linebacker or somebody else in this hook zone, he doesn't come down here. He actually rolls behind towards the 3 receiver side. People have talked about that in hook curls. They say, hey, there's an issue where the hook curl guys, they all rotate to the side of the 3 receivers because that's what they do. They flood the area where there's all the receivers. So he kind of comes up behind, waiting for that dig, for that little in route there. right? So if they try to high-low the ball on here, Blankenship takes high, right? And then if you got a post behind that, that's where this guy comes up here. He takes care of that, right? So if they try to flood the middle, they try to flood the seam, you got it all covered, right? And if they try to also flood the right side of the field here, the right side of screen field, you still got it covered because you got the deep covered. He's going to come over to play the mid. He'll match up any corner route, even though you don't want Graham really doing that. He's going to come low, and he's going to stay here until the guy beats him in leverage. When he starts to really cut outside to the flat, then he'll trail behind. So he may still allow a catch, but he should be there to maybe break it up, knock it out of bounds, keep it short. So where the area of weakness is, because when you have it by 3x1 here, is he's Mitchell over here. He's going to turn into Meg, where men man him up everywhere he goes, right? So this should be taken care of, this receiver by himself. So the issue is this guy here. And this is where I would take him and I would user him because he's going to play his seam. So if that running back stays in the block, he's just going to come over here. And since Blankenship is going to roll kind of this way, well, where's the open field? You can see it right now as the coverage, when the play starts, is going to roll kind of like this. We'll bring Bonds pretty much in his spot. We'll have him play a little bit deeper. Am I on him? Okay. We'll bring him back. And to simulate the man-on-man, why can't I change? I'm going to bring him just down low to simulate, hey, he's man-on-man. So that's kind of what's going on. So you can see the big open area. Again, it would be here. And you could say here with a corner or something like that. I mean, a post route from the right side of the field. But Hunt, he's going to kind of take himself out. So unless the running back does a route over here, he's kind of just wasting it, right? So I would user him. I would watch the running back. If he goes out to the route to the flat, I'm going to cover it, but I'm going to cover it very softly. Like if he's out to the flat right here, I'm going to be here. I'm going to let him throw to it and throw the ball. They might get a catch. They might get a couple yards, but I'm going to try to hit him as soon as he catches it, knock him out of bounds or tackling him right there. All right, I'm not going to play tight coverage because I'm going to be watching for something like a drag, a quick in, and anybody who's coming back, because this is where the weak spot really is. So I don't want to commit too much to the flat. So I'll user him. If the running back comes over here, I'm going to play it, and we'll worry about it if he does like a wheel route. Then I'm going to bite on that. That's more important than covering a drag or something, right? So I'll watch that and then come over here. If there's a drag, an in, then I'm usering him and I'm going to come and take that myself. Because this is where people are going to go, because they already know that the hook curls, they're going to flood to the side of three receivers when you do a cover three, right? But I don't usually do the cover three coverage against a 3x1. I'm just showing you that you can still do it. If you want to stay in this, it's pretty good to stop big plays, but not so much against the 3x1 because, again, since I'm using this guy, if they do something like a 10-yard little button hook here or a quick and out here at 10 yards, Mitchell's going to be over here. They do that little comeback route. He's going to come down. And if I'm using Hunt here and I'm staying over here, I'm trying to cover the quick pass, well then, what's open? Way over here. Because the computer's not very good if a slant, a post route over here, one of those kind of crossers come across over here, he's not going to really chase it, right? He'll he'll mess with it around this area, but as soon as it starts to get over here, he kind of leaves it to that outside zone. But he's manning up. So if you user him, you can stop the big play. Now, if this was like at the 20 or 15 yard line, like if they were a little bit closer to the end zone, you wouldn't really have to worry about that so much. Matter of fact, you might not even have to have Johnson in a deep zone here. You could change up his zone, maybe even put him in a spy if you wanted to, right? So then if he's in a oh, I don't think you can put him in a spy. So you'd have to manually do that, unless you can put him in a hook and then put him in a spy. So then when the play comes out, hopefully Johnson will have to redo his hook so that he's on this side of the field. Before you reset the play here, this is where they would line up. And yeah, you got that deep part. Oh, it's exposed. But if you're closer to the end zone, it's not really exposed because they're not going to go back there, right? So then you got everything pretty well covered, right? But 3x1, that's usually not what I'm going to do, right? I would have an audible. Let's see if I have it here. Let's go to it. We're going to do cover 6, and I like to have the cover 4 side. Let's see if I can hit reset if everybody lines up. Let me just leave this real quick because I want everybody to go back to their set positions. So let's do our cover 6. We'll have the 3x1 again. I'm just going to hit random play. And it should have been auto flip. Maybe I didn't turn it on, but I want the cover 4 side to the 3 receiver threat side, the passing strength over here. And I would like to also go to hit double triangle here, go to square, which is Mitchell here, and I like to put right on the left stick to put him in a soft squat. Because what that ends up doing is he matches him down the field. Not all the way down the field. So if you just left him in the cloud flat, you would have to set his zones, right? You'd have to set the zone drop for him. But we want match coverage, right? We don't want the zones. The zone drops. We want man match. So if Mitchell goes downfield, he will follow him and trail behind him to like here, pretty deep, maybe even a little bit further. And if he does anything in this area, he's gonna really cover it. If he does an in and out, he'll cover him a bit. If he goes in, obviously he's gonna pass him off, but he's gonna take care of that. And then he'll run down at the flat if he does like a one of those little hitches or little screen pass there. He'll come down to that. But if he runs a streak, he'll cover him deeper, which is what I want because it makes a smaller window. Because this is who I'm going to user. I'm going to user the half safety who's in a deep half. I'm going to on the cover 2 side. And the reasoning behind this is that I'm going to trust my coverage, even though like Brendan Graham shouldn't be out there covering. And the reason behind this is because if it's a run to this side, Mitchell has the run fit here. He's going to come down here and cut it off if they do some kind of run to this side, right? If they run in the middle, since he's in a quarter, he'll come run fit down here, right? So those are benefits. But this guy, not so much, right? He's going to stay back. If I user him, if they run, I can actually user him and come up. Try not to bite too hard because of play actions. You don't want to get burned. But I'll user him, and one of the reasons is because of the run. In the run, he's just going to keep dropping back, right? He's not going to bite on it at all. Even if it is a run, it's a run, he's going to react very slow. So I can take control of that. Like, oh, I'm sure it's a run play, right? He's already at the line of scrimmage, breaking tackles. I can come down, right? The other thing here is that I can watch that outside receiver. that's on the same side. If he's starting to run deep, I'm going to get over the top of him. And if he's going to do a post, I'm going to cover that. But if he does like a little button hook, he does an out, he does a drag, well, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start coming over here, playing more center field. And I'm going to watch for crossing routes. I'm going to watch for a post over here. Anybody from that, the passing strength, I'm going to go over that. Because if I'm not using him and it's a run, he's going to play back. If that outside receiver does a little drag, does a little short route, again, he's just going to sit back here. Right? He's going to come over to this general area, which means he's almost basically a useless player because there's nothing going on over there. But if there's like some kind of post or something going on over here, this area is open. Right? So I'll come more of a deep third, and I'll wait for any crossers, or if they do like a dig, I can come down and play as if I'm in a quarter, right? A quarters defense, and I'm in a middle quarters zone like the other safety there, right? So I can actually control that. But if it's inside the red zone, it really doesn't matter, right? I won't user him. I'll probably come down and user someone like him if the field is short. I don't have to worry about deep pass because the whole point of the way I'm playing is just try not to let up the big play, right? It's not a just shut down defense. It's more of a bend don't break. So if you get to the red zone, I can let him do his thing in the back. He's not going to really be too far to position because if there's any crossers, it's a very small distance between me and him here because he's not going to have to drop back if we're inside the 15, 10-yard line, right? And I can play more of the middle, do the user that everybody else is doing, right? But yeah, that would be the basic setup for what I like to do for my defense. This is more of starting things out. I'll use more of a cover 6 like this because it helps out in the short game a little better and in the run fit a little better because this safety, he comes down to help out if it's a run, and this corner comes in if it's a run. So you got a little bit better run fits. And if I remember how to take a look at that, I actually don't remember how to look at run fits. There we go. You see how we got 7 guys in run fits? No, we got 8 guys in run fits. So that's pretty good, right? Pretty good. So this is more of a for first down, short yardage. They could run it. Well, then we got guys in the run fits, right? We got things taken care of. Right? I feel pretty confident about it, right? But if we check out the run fits in the cover 3, let's go to this. Again, we'll just go here, and I'm going to set it up the way it's... Alright, so now if we go look at run fits here... Okay, why can't I look at the run fits? There we go. We got 7 guys in the run fits instead of the 8. And I'm not sure if he would actually be considered into the run fits. Maybe because he was blitzing. But it's 1 extra guy. Plus I'll be using the safety in the cover 6 there. So it's like having 9 guys potentially to help out. But this is more of I think it's because I'm in a base defense. If I was in a nickel, this would be a nickel guy, and he might not be in the run fits when we actually take a look at it. For some reason, it doesn't want to show up. I don't know what the heck I'm doing wrong here. That's weird. Does it only do it when I'm on a certain player or something? Um, that's weird. Now it's working. But I don't know if he would actually be in a run fit if he was like a nickel. Sometimes the nickel guy would still be in it. But having an extra guy in there is always good to have. So that's why I do more of the cover 6 to start things off, feeling things out. And the cover 3. And what I like to do with the cover 3, something else I didn't bring up. We can go, if we wanted to big nickel, or I think we have it in big nickel. Alright, so we got a cover 3 match here. Let me see my... Alright, we already have that in the audibles. Let's see if we got a different version. Cover 3 buzz match. Alright, let's go to this. We'll go to shotgun. We'll just do here. We'll do random play. Alright, so here, you see how it's... I messed up. I didn't put it on my base coverage. We want to put the shell as a cover 4. And then go to the cover 3 buzz match. We'll come over here again. Do the same thing here. Alright, so you notice here that on this one, the safety, he's going to come down into the curl flat, and the linebacker, he's going to go out and cover the seam, right? And if you keep doing this play, this version of it, they'll get used to that, right? They'll get used to that. But then if you do the cover 3 match, it's a subtle difference. It doesn't... Normally I would come out in the cover 3 match and then switch to cover 3 buzz, because it won't do that. You see how when I audibled, the safety went up like that? It won't do that if you do the opposite, because when the safety's in the hook curl, he'll stay up here to make it look like a cover 2 or a cover 4, right? So if you're constantly doing this and one of the safeties drops out into the seam flat, just subtly changing it up a little bit can mess them up. Where they think everything's different, it makes them slow down because things playing out differently. You get them used to you doing the same thing, and all of a sudden you do a little change, it turns into a big thing in their mind, right? So if you're always doing this, and then you just kind of will reset play here. I don't know why it did that, but I guess it flipped. I must have hit flip instead of reset. But since I hit flip, this guy should come over here now. But if all of a sudden you change things up and it's the safety doesn't come over here, because maybe they're watching the safeties when they start to play, he comes down, he might think it's a different coverage or something, right? Because another thing I like to do is I like to mix this up with a cover 1, right? And I would like to keep him back here. I don't want him blitzing. So what I would like to do is put him on like a middle read. And not exactly what I would want, but that's what we're going to go with. So now it turns into a cover 1, but we had the same kind of setup here where they think I'm doing the same thing that I've always been doing, but now it's man coverage because they see the safeties. Like, if they're watching the safeties, they see what I'm doing. They see that the safety drops up like this, this one comes down. Oh, I'm doing my same cover 3. No, I'm actually doing a cover 1 because I want everybody covered, because I think it's you're going to do a short pass. Because you're throwing short, you're not throwing anything deep. Let's man up so that we have somebody there. And now and then I also mix and press. even when I'm doing the cover 3, so that when I do the man and I do press, it's not a tell. Even though their line where they're positioned here is a bit of a tell, hopefully they don't notice. Because if you're doing the same thing and then all of a sudden you change, they might fall asleep because you're doing the same thing. They just keep thinking you're going to keep doing the same thing, right? So then you mix that up in there. Or what I would like to do is I change things up. And this one really changes things up because now I'm worried about short passes. Well, cover 2 man. And now the safeties, all of a sudden, they're not rolling out. They're not rolling one to the top, one to the bottom. And I'm usually always doing 3 high. And that changes things. But I'll make it look like a cover 4 because if they're watching my safeties, I don't have, usually I'll have it where the safeties rules are different so that I could take this guy and put him in a middle quarters, and I'll show you to do that if you don't know what I'm talking about here. So all you got to do is when you're in the big nickel here, you got to have a slot cornerback so that you don't have the safeties rules. You don't have the 3 safety rules. So let's come back, and we'll just start out in the cover 2 because I'm just going to audible to it anyway. Random play here because it doesn't matter. And we're going to put X, we're going to put him right on the right stick. See, he goes to inside quarter. Same thing with the other safety. We're going to press and play inside because we're looking for something short, right? And now the safeties, even though they're cover 2, right? They try to make it look like a cover 2. They look like the safeties are always dropping back. But, whoops. Didn't mean to let that play out. I don't think it shows up on the run fits, but I'll try it again. Let's do inside quarter, inside quarter. Yeah, it doesn't show up on the run fits, but you see how we have 6 people in the run fits? We actually have 8 because since we put the safeties in quarters, they'll help come down on the run. So you play man, you have tight coverage, so if they throw something short because they're used to you just playing deep, well, now you got everything covered if they want to throw short, and if they're running, you have 8 people who will react to the run. So it's a nice little thing to mix in there, right? And there's also, blitzes and stuff, but I've been focusing more on coverages and how to cover and mix up the coverages and how the man match works and when's the best time to use the certain zone coverages, when's the best time to use the man, whether it's cover 1 or cover 2, and messing around with that. And a lot of times it has to do with who you're going against as well. Like if the person you're playing or the computer you're playing is smart, well, when you're on a high difficulty, you got to take that in consideration. But also, if you have this random person at corner and you're going against, I don't know, AJ Brown, press manning him is probably not the best way to go, right? So probably don't want to do some coverage like that, right? You want to do more of the man match because you're gonna need help. You're gonna need help against some people when you're trying to man up, right? But then sometimes you might have Sauce Gardner, right, and Stingley as your corners, and you're taking on some no names at receiver. Well, why not just run press man coverage the whole time? They can't beat you, right? You don't worry about it. You don't have to do a lot of zone and worrying about the zone coverages and your responsibilities. You can just do something simple because you can outman them, all right? And even mix in blitzes because you're not worried about them beating the coverage. So you got to take those things into consideration. But yeah, that's that for this video. More of an introduction of how I do defense. This is a playbook that I put together. That's why it has a bunch of different formations. I wanted to mix some of the stuff from Fangio's defense. That's why I'm using the man match stuff. But I also wanted to mix in some of the wide 9 and the 4-3 stuff. So that's why you see like I have a penny, but I also have 5-2 and the 5-3 over wide. Using big nickel, but also the 46. I like the bear under here and the normal. And then I have some of the crazy nickel formations. I know I have cub and penny, but I got odd, 2-4 double mug, and the wide. I like using this because it's a defense used a lot in the NFL, so I like to mess around with it. I like the stack. That's more of a high school, college thing, and I was trying to see if I could make it work in the NFL, but it doesn't have a lot of match coverages in this. I don't think really any. It has the cover 4 drop. I guess Overload Blitz 3. That's a man match, but I don't know if that's exactly what you would want to use because it's a blitz there, but Mike Blitz. I think all the match coverages are blitzes that they got in this. I guess you could take the cover 2 and make it easily into one. Potentially the cover 3 drop, you could put the people in the seam routes there. Seams. And you could turn that into a match there, but uh, yeah. Nickel normal. Everybody loves this 3-2-1, so I put that in there. And for some reason, I generally like using a 3-4. Been trying to mess around with the 4-3 a bit more. But when you do a custom playbook, it all is all weird. But I use the under, odd, over. Right? For that as the base. But, yeah. Not that that really played any part in anything. But I just like to mess around with a little bit of everything. Not that I use all this, especially in a single game. I'll just focus on a couple formations or what have you. But yeah, that's that. Thank you for watching. Take care and, watch the skies. Things are changing. Get ready. Take care.